Hello everybody. It's been a while, but my name's Alyssa Cooper and this is Cooking in Quarantine. So I have had a little bit of a break here. You know, I had some trouble with my refrigerator and didn't want to invest in food when I didn't really have any way to preserve it. And then I went away, and then I went away again. But it is summertime, and I've been inside for a really long time, so I needed the break. So today, I've decided that we're going to have a pretty exciting summer thing. We're going to have a corn week. So today, I'm going to make corn chowder. So I have over here, I have already fried up 3 pieces of bacon and a 1/4 cup of olive oil in my Dutch oven over here. I've already blanched a couple of ears of corn. And I have here, I've added a little extra butter to the bacon fat and olive oil and put a 1.5 cups of onions in there. And I'm letting those cook down until they're translucent. So, here is that. So I have also, I've got a 1.5 cups of potatoes cut nicely. I cut them to make sure that they're all pretty much the same size. I have here, I could probably get these last couple of onions out of my cup too. I have here 2 tablespoons of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric. After these onions cook down to translucent, we're going to kind of make a roux here, right? We're going to add this flour, and that's going to be our thickening agent. And the biggest issue with making a chowder ever, a chowder, a bisque, anything like that that has a flour thickening base, is to make sure that the flour gets cooked properly. If it doesn't, it's going to be terrible. So that's really important. Then after all of that is done, we're going to add the potatoes and the stock. Let that cook down for about 15 minutes until the very end when we'll add the corn. So, one of the things that we'll need to do is take the corn off the cob. And hello to whomever is out there watching me. I appreciate your coming by. So, I'm going to pay a little attention here to these onions for a minute because I've got a lot of good color here from the bacon on the bottom of that pan. I want to make sure I loosen that up. And so that these start to cook down really nicely. There we go. Excellent. They are getting there, but I think they need a few more minutes. I have here 3 cups. It looks now that I'm looking at it from this side, maybe not 3 cups. Hello, Sale. How are you? I miss you, girl. So anyway, if you heard, we're making corn chowder here today. I already blanched up a couple of ears of corn, and I have a couple more over here wrapped up so that as soon as we're finished here, I'm going to be able to, hello Caroline, I'm going to be able to have an ear or 2 of corn for lunch. Yum, yum, yum. So, while we're doing this is one of my favorite things in the world. I loved doing this when I was a kid, helping my mom freeze corn. We would always have a garden. We would always freeze corn so that my mom's a big corn pudding person. We do in our family, we do a great Mexican cornbread, which I think I'm going to do tomorrow. And I always loved, though, when you got these long little packets of corn and you could eat them in the little sheets. And I would sometimes eat more than I actually, eat more than I helped, right? I'm drinking the business dry. So there's that. And now one of the things that I'm going to do that is not in the recipe, and it's a Jamie Baker trick, and he says always put your corn cobs into your pot while you're cooking. And almost always, if Jamie Baker says it, it's true. So the only thing I've ever found that Jamie Baker says that isn't true is that his blue cheese dressing is a little sweeter than I actually like. But other than that, the man is spot on. All right here. So these onions are looking close to good. I think they need just a little tiny few more minutes to start to get to the place where they really need to be before we put in, again, flour. We're going to have to let that flour cook for a few minutes So I'm going to go ahead and give myself 3 minutes on the timer, so when that flour goes in, I'll make sure that I'm cooking it long enough. Hello, AJ. How are you guys doing? Life is beautiful out in Brooklyn, I hope. So I'm going to kind of move these around a little bit, and I'm going to dump all this gingerly around the edges so that the flour is mixed into the onions kind of evenly. And now I'm going to kind of start mixing this up. And you want to move this so that it doesn't clump up. But also, just because it's tightened up the whole thing, right? All the fat is now tightened up by this flour. But I have to keep moving it around because I'll never forget. There's a great place in Murrells Inlet in South Carolina. It's been there forever. And it's called Drunken Jack's. And Drunken Jack's is usually known for their lobster bisque, their chowders, all that kind of stuff. So I go, I'm starving, with my friend Jamie Baker, the inimitable Jamie Baker, and I sit down to a bowl of flour paste. It was absolutely horrible and a terrible, terrible, terrible waste of, what am I trying to say? Of lobster stock and lobster and all the trouble for lobster everything. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of liquid in here before I needed a little bit of liquid to help me move a little better, and that just soaked right up. Wowza mama, that soaked right up. Let's do this. I'm going to do this slowly, like I'm making risotto. How about that? Just a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. Oh, I didn't turn my 3-minute timer on. I'm terrible at this, aren't I? So anyway, how long do you think I've been here? So guys, I have not been here really I've missed 3 weeks due to the various and sundry issues around here. And the world has gone tits up, frankly. Pardon me if you don't like my language, you should unfollow me. It has gone bananas here, and the attacks on democracy, the attacks on truth have gone completely out of hand. And I'm afraid that I'm going to have to wear my nasty woman shirt for the foreseeable future. So anyway, guys, if you do not have a voting plan, get a voting plan. If you are not working, try to volunteer your time to help save democracy, because this is not a pretty situation that we find ourselves in. Luckily, we haven't had the maskless fellas come in with their AR-15s and shooting rubber bullets at moms, but you know what? That will not be pretty if it has to happen in New York. It will not be pretty. So, my onions, my stock are all in here. My flour is browned up pretty well. And I'm going to add these potatoes. And as you see, what did I do? So I cut off the edges to make it flat, right? So that I could manage to get perfectly little square pieces, right? I believe the word for that is brunoise. And I'm going to spread these around, and I'm going to pull my heat back up a little higher so that will come up to a boil. Set this aside. So all that there is to finish this is we're going to add the corn after about 10 or 15 minutes after the potatoes soften. Add the corn, add a little bit of white cheddar cheese. I think that this afternoon, Caroline, I can eat something. A little white cheddar cheese. And the Ina Garden recipe that I call for wants me to put in a half a cup of half and half. But actually, I am going to put just a little bit more cheese and just use the good old milk that I have here. So, since soup is always better the second day, I'll be finishing this up, putting it away. But that said, I love corn more than anything in the world. I guess one last thing. Democratic National Convention this week. last week, or week before that, I binged both seasons of Umbrella Academy. I loved it. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you in any way enjoy the superhero genre, it is phenomenal. But as soon as Kamala was announced as the running mate, I couldn't snap my fingers before I saw birther, garbage, not a citizen, just garbage. And I, enraged, said to somebody, if you share lies, I'll share lies about you. I'll rumor you. You'll get what I'm saying if you've seen Umbrella Academy. And then Michelle came on last night. And she reminded me that when they go low, we go high. It's not fair. We're not going to win because we may not win because they're going to cheat. But when you lose your ethical, your moral center, you've lost everything. You've got nothing left. So fight for what's right. Do what's right. Wear your masks, man. Wear your masks. Schools are turning around right and left. Why? Because parents have taught their children that their freedom is more important than other people's health. I'm sorry, but fuck you. Your rights end where my toes begin, and when you can't control your viral load spewing out of your empty mouth, put on a mask. So guys, I've got a couple months worth of angry built up inside of me. So let's get it together. Let's be decent people. Let's remember that Jesus said to love your neighbor. So I don't want to hear any of this, I'm a racist and a Christian. Can't do it. Love your neighbor. Show your love by wearing a mask. And now that we all know that no kid is really going to go back to school, guys, if there's somebody out there who has a kid who loves you and you love, reach out and ask them if there's something you can do to help. I, all through the last semester, got on the phone at least once a week with my niece and nephew, and we talked about all kinds of subjects. We talked about music and philosophy and art and artists, and we talked about manners and life skills and all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to help create a quiet space for your friends, for your brothers and sisters who still have kids at home. So see what you can do, right? Not everybody can afford the extra help, the extra tutors and that kind of stuff. So if there's somebody that can use your help, do what you can, right? We've all got to be in this together. So let's come and see what everybody's talking about. So let's see. Yeah, right. It's like Dr. Fauci said, I don't know how to explain to you that you should care about other people. If you don't care about other people, who the heck do you think is going to care about you? My goodness gracious. So anyway, I love you guys all so much. Hello, cousins and friends. And my friend, everybody send up some good thoughts to my friend Kelly Fitzgerald, because she's going to be moving, if not today, tomorrow. I can't keep it all straight. So there's that. So here we've got my little things over here, my little potato guys. Let's see how they're doing. Let's see. Foamy deliciousness over here. My potatoes are still a little, you can feel that they're still little pebbles. So we'll just leave those there and give them a little more time to cook. But again, the finishing is so simple. When the potatoes are soft, you add the corn, you add the cheese, you add a little milk, you stir it until it's all incorporated, and then you turn all the heat off and you let it get cool, and you put it in the refrigerator for a day or two, and then you eat it when it's all melded together and truly delicious. Again, I'm going to put my corn cobs in there for a while they sit and rest as it comes down to temperature. And when you guys are gone, I'm going to eat 2 big old corns of cob slathered with butter and salt and pepper and maybe even a little hot sauce. Does that sound good? It sounds really good to me. So guys, I love you all. Fight for what is right. If you see wrong going on in the street, take a picture of it and share it, because the only way to stop fascism is to be on alert for fascism. And I don't want to live like that, you guys. I've read enough books about what it was like in Germany between the wars to know I don't want to live like that. So let's do what's right, guys. I love you, and I'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Ciao, ciao. Make something good to eat. Do something good for your friends and family. I love you all.